Welcome to The Explainer. You know, it's a story we see all the time. A business is growing, which is great, but behind the scenes, they're getting absolutely buried in messy spreadsheets. Today, we're going to follow a grocery chain's incredible journey from that data chaos, what we call data spaghetti, all the way to data-driven dollars. It's basically a four-step playbook for turning raw information into real profit.
So if you've ever worked in a company that's scaling up, this probably hits close to home. Our hero company, a small grocery chain, was hitting a major wall. Their whole operation was snarled in this web of disconnected spreadsheets, a total classic case of Excel spaghetti. And because of that, getting clear answers to even basic questions was impossible, and it was seriously holding back their growth.
So the big question is, how do you actually get from that mess to a place of clarity? Well, it's not magic, but it is a methodical process. We're going to walk through the 4 key steps they took to build an engine for making sharp, smart, and profitable decisions.
All right, here's our roadmap for this journey. First up, we're going to really dig into this spaghetti problem. Then, we'll see how they built a solid structure and, just as important, made their data trustworthy. From there, it's all about finding the hidden signals in all that data and, of course, turning those signals into actual dollars. And you'll see how AI was a partner at every single step.
Okay, so let's set the scene. We've got this grocery chain right in the middle of a big growth spurt, going from just 3 stores to 10. But that success brought on a massive operational headache. Literally every part of the business was running on this tangled mess of spreadsheets, which created huge blind spots and just slowed everything down.
And this gives you a little taste of the chaos. We are talking about different files for sales, for inventory, for vendors, you name it. You had inconsistent product names like organic kale in one file and kale org in another. Dates were formatted every which way you can imagine. It meant a simple question like, hey, what were our total sales last month? Was basically impossible to answer with any real confidence.
So the first move was pretty obvious. They had to untangle this mess. The mission, really, was to get from that digital spaghetti to a clean, structured schema. They had to build a rock-solid foundation for everything that would come next.
And this is what that looks like. The goal was to get from the chaos you see on the left to the clean, organized structure on the right. And to do that, they built a proper relational database. This is a system that's literally designed to store data in a way that gets rid of duplicates and creates one single reliable source of truth for the entire company.
Now, before they even wrote a single line of code, they created this, an entity relationship diagram, or an ERD. Think of it as the architectural blueprint for their new database. It maps out precisely how things like products, stores, and sales all connect to each other, making sure the new system would be logical and super efficient. But here's the thing, a perfect structure is totally useless if you fill it with junk. A well-designed database is just the beginning. The next big challenge was making sure the data inside it was trustworthy, moving from all those hidden errors to total data integrity.
So, after moving everything into the shiny new database, the team had to face a pretty harsh reality. The data itself was still a mess. It was filled with the exact same errors, missing values, and all the inconsistencies it had inherited from those old spreadsheets.
This slide lays out what they called the 7 data sins that they had to fix. And these weren't just simple typos. No, these were sneaky but critical issues like time zone drift, where sales from the East and West Coasts were misaligned, or unit mix-ups, where pounds and kilograms were being used interchangeably. Every single one of these sins had to be systematically hunted down and repaired.
All right, so with a foundation of clean, reliable data, the real work could finally begin. The focus shifted from just organizing data to actually using it, to start hunting for those valuable, hidden signals that truly drive the business. A really key technique they use here is called time series decomposition. Now, this method is fantastic because it lets you take something really complex, like daily sales data, and you just break it apart. It separates out the underlying long-term trend from predictable seasonal patterns, like summer sales spikes, and it filters out all the random, unpredictable noise. And the payoff for all that hard work was immediate. For the first time, they could visualize and, more importantly, quantify the key drivers of their business with total confidence. This meant they could measure the exact sales lift from holidays, which let them staff their stores better and manage inventory, and they could even start modeling how things like the weather impact what people buy.
This is really where it all comes together. When you have clean data and clear signals, you can finally connect your analysis directly to dollars.
It's that huge leap from just observing what your shoppers are doing to actively shaping your business strategy. Okay, so the chain had a loyalty program, and 40% of their customers were members. Now that sounds pretty good on the surface, but it doesn't answer the million-dollar question. Was the program actually profitable, or was it just giving discounts to people who were going to shop there anyway?
This became the central strategic question they could now finally tackle. By analyzing member versus non-member behavior, looking at things like basket size, how often they visit, what they buy, they could figure out the true value of their loyalty program.
The answer came from a cool technique called uplift modeling. So instead of just guessing which promotions work, this method actually predicts which offers will generate new business. For instance, they could simulate a bunch of different promotions and find the one that drove thousands of dollars in extra profit, money that would have been completely left on the table otherwise. Now, there was a powerful partner working behind the scenes through this entire journey: artificial intelligence. And AI wasn't just some passive tool, it was an active collaborator that helped accelerate every single stage of this transformation.
The role AI played showed this really fascinating evolution. At first, it acted as a tutor, explaining complex concepts. Then, it graduated to being a coder, generating models for the human experts to validate. But the end goal is AI as an agent, something that can execute complex tasks, always under human supervision. It really shows how you can build that trust and capability over time.
So this single slide really captures the entire data maturity journey perfectly. It's a clear 4-step path, from chaotic spreadsheets to a structured database, from messy errors to data you can trust, from just raw data to clear signals, and finally, from insights to a profitable business strategy.
When you boil it all down, this entire journey is about one thing: building a solid foundation to make smarter decisions. The data can tell you what happened. But like this slide says, strategy is all about deciding what you do next. The data provides the map, but you still have to drive the car.